Hello and welcome to Richmond, Brazil. My name is Ray Shoulder. I'm an editor here at Richmond in São Paulo. And with me this morning I have Gordon Knowles, who is Managing Director of Scholastic, a publishing house from London. Hello Gordon.
Hello.
Welcome to Richmond, Brazil.
Thank you.
I understand you were a teacher for quite a while. How has the fact that you were a teacher led to your becoming Director of Scholastic?
Well, it's interesting. I was a teacher in Italy, and I was teaching mainly teenagers, and I was privileged enough, I suppose, to be teaching in private language schools in the evening, so free of restraints around course books or curriculum, which is a very privileged position to be in. And what I particularly enjoyed doing was motivating the classes of teenage learners to use their English to understand topics that they were particularly interested in talking about. So I would bring in articles on sport or fashion from magazines that I had, newspaper issues on big social issues, and we would use those to discuss in the class. And I realized that getting teenagers to open up and talk and use their English often involves giving them a kind of context that they're interested in and finding topics that get them talking. And I kept that experience with me.
Mm-hmm. Yes, the key is finding something that young learners are interested in reading it.
Yes, no, I think that's absolutely right. And I think what's great, if you can find topics that they've already got a lot of knowledge about, they bring that knowledge into the classroom with them. And I think that helps them feel important in the classroom, allows them to teach the teacher something perhaps. I mean, often we find that the students have seen Devil Wears Prada, or the students have followed the Lost series on TV. The teacher may not have done, but that's fine, because the students then come with their own knowledge and also come with their own scaffolding, their own structure around what's going to happen in the book, and therefore find the whole comprehension of the reading, even if it's slightly above their level, a lot easier.
Right, I know that you have a special interest in the power of media as an educational tool. I was wondering if you could tell us some more about that.
Well, media as in a sense of the fact that film and TV is something which is all around teenagers today, and in fact that teenagers engage an awful lot with media themselves. And something that interests me is the fact that teachers will often say to you, oh, my students don't really read. You say, oh, why don't they use more readers in the classroom? They say, oh, they don't even read in their own language. And I always find that questionable, insofar as I think teenagers do an awful lot of reading today. This generation of teenagers and the way they engage with media is probably a generation that uses reading and writing more than any other previous generation. If you look at how often they're on a website, reading a web page, or reading a blog, or sending an SMS to a friend and reading that and writing that. And of course the fact that this generation is a generation that got through very long books like Harry Potter and Twilight. So I think it's clear to me that this generation of teenagers engage with media an awful lot and engage with it in reading and writing. And it's using that in natural enthusiasm that they have and trying to direct it into a format that will also help them improve their English.
Yes, this is a very refreshing view. I've heard many teachers saying, but students these days just don't read. You're saying then that perhaps what students read has changed?
Yes, no, I think it has, or I think it should, because they'll often be reading, for example, text from a different form of media. They may not be reading a long novel all the time, but they were reading an awful lot of web pages every day, or perhaps reading graphic novels and things like that. So it's a question of trying to find out what they do in their lives and how they engage with media, and using that as an educational tool.